Hello, everybody. I feel horrible. I really promised to be much more consistent than I have been. And clearly, I have not. And for those of you that have legit hung in with me and continued visiting this channel, you're the bomb. You're everything. Thank you so much because I definitely dropped the ball. Um, and while I don't want to dwell on it, here I am. I am back with a vengeance, and hopefully, I'm not going to make you any promises that I can't keep. I think action is required here, right? Because I've certainly said I'm going to be consistent before, and then I fall off. So, action over discussion or just simply saying things. But I hope you guys are all well. I hope 2017 is treating you well. I guess what I want to talk about just briefly is just like, this whole bit of lack of originality that I'm seeing out in these streets. So let's have a quick discussion. So, like if you've been following me for some time or you know a little bit about my story, I think you'll know that I bust my natural behind pretty regularly, very regularly, in fact, to have what I have, like to have the prestige, to have the name in certain circles that I have, to have the body of work that I have. I bust my behind. Many of nights have been spent up at the wee hours in the morning, toiling away while my family's sleeping. Um, you know, very early on in my business, it was, breastfeeding my son and writing blog posts at the same time. I mean, I'm a hard worker. And so, it's never ever really occurred to me that I should like take something from somebody else that they've worked hard for or try to like ride on the coattails of somebody who's really been out here grinding and working. And, so while I love social media, I guess part of what annoys me about social media is that because the barrier to entry is so low for most people to kind of, get in and start what you would call a brand for themselves, I guess people have this, idea or a semblance of an idea that they don't actually have to put in work. Actually, on a recent podcast that I did, we kind of coined this whole term, the Beyonce syndrome, not to single her out, but it's this whole idea that, like, you can go from 0 to 150 in terms of being somebody out here, um, without having to go through the normal challenges and hoops and loops and failures and all the things that come along with building something that's worthwhile that other people have done. And it's just lazy, one, and two, it's very off-putting when someone has worked really hard and they see other people like kind of treading their lane. Now I know, like, that whole imitation is the highest form of flattery is a certain piece of it, so I kind of get that. Um, but like, there's a line you cross when you go too far down the imitation road. So I think we all on some level have like, taken bits and pieces from what we've seen from other people and try to kind of incorporate it into what we do. And that is in and of itself imitation. But it's a whole nother thing when you just say like, okay, somebody's established a brand or they've established a business or a presence and really worked hard at it, and now you decide, I don't want to deal with the failure. I don't want to deal with the years that it may take for me to get to the top. I don't want to deal with the sacrifices and the not having the recognition right away. I'm just gonna like take it from them, or I'm just gonna hop on their bandwagon and try to, latch onto some of the fumes as they continue the upward trajectory. And if you're doing that, you have to know the end is near for you. You must know the end is near. Like, there's literally no longevity in being a faker. There's no longevity in doing something that's alien to you. When you are very clear on who you are, why you are, and, you know, what your purpose is in this life, things just get a hell of a lot easier for you. You know, now you're in a lane all on your own. Now you're doing something that is innate. But when you are trying to be everything to everybody and also trying to personify someone else, something that they've taken good time to build, the end is near, the crash is coming, because you're not going to be able to keep it up for long. Why? Because again, it is not your lane, it's not your purpose, it's not who you are. You don't have the panache of the person that you're trying to imitate. You cannot be that person. There can only be one. I say this all the time. There can be but one of anybody. And that's not being haughty, that's just being real. There can only be one me. There is no more. You can find things that are like similar, you know, kind of the same, but it's never quite the same. And that's true of any human being. So I guess what I want to get through is that, you know, there is a value in getting with people or getting with yourself to figure out like what you're here to do. Like, what is your purpose on this earth? And I know that that seems really like, you know, soft and foo-foo-la to many, because it's not something that we get encouraged to do from early on in terms of our career pursuits and things like that. But the more that I continue to do work with women in specific who are, you know, who have had pretty lucrative careers and have lost themselves along the way, or just women who continue to have a decent career, but some, you know, are at a crossroads or whatever. That is my main thing. My main thing is to encourage them by any means necessary to figure out who and why they exist on this earth and what that unique purpose is, because it will do you absolutely no good to be one of these people out here faking it to make it. And I know that's part of what you do, but people are taking it way too friggin' far, like really, really far, to the point where when I encounter some people offline or however, they can't even speak to their brands intelligently, let alone carry on a conversation with regard to anything going on in their industry. It's absurd. It's absurd. And then, you know, it's just the blatant poaching of other people's brands that is just like, really, you're gonna just do that now? You know, like, there's no, you have not a original idea. Like, you can't actually formulate one original idea. That's troubling. So I hate to come back at you with this very stern message, but I feel like it's needed. And I feel like 2017 is the year that like people really just need to stop the crap and like figure out who, what, and why you are, and get to work. Like, literally get to work. You know, the time that you spend watching Love and Hip Hop, you could be building something for yourself. The time you spend gawking other people's profiles and talking about them behind their back or assuming certain things about how they came by their fortunes, you could be building something. The time you spend with worthless ass men, you know, in relationships or trying to pull them up from a hole they'll never come out of or crawl out of, you could be building something. You know, the time you spend around women or people who are never going to be able to build you up to anything good, you could be building something. So the message is, this is the year, this is your year to get right. Like, every year is an opportunity to get right, but seeing as though time is of the essence and here we are in 2017, your time to get right is now. Your day of reckoning is upon you. If you've been trying to cheat your life and skate by, it's going to catch up with you probably this year. If not this year, then pretty damn soon. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be your wake up call to getting into action. And I know that there are a lot of things that prevent people from doing that. I know that sometimes, sickness happens, and I know that deaths in the family happen and life takes over, and these are things we cannot avoid. But, even within that, you know, you do what you need to do. You mourn, you get yourself better, you do what you need to do, and then you use that pain to catapult you to the next best level, your level up. That's what you do. So I'm not saying if you're in the depths of a struggle right now that feels daunting, that, you're to snap out of it. Sometimes life doesn't flow like that. Um, but I would definitely say that you need to be able to capture and recognize and understand where you are and use that to catapult you to the next level. But by no stretch of the imagination should you think that because, the playing ground has been leveled somehow with technology, that you can just be out here stealing people's stuff. Like, I'm not going to drop names, but they're just like, there's a lot of foolery, a lot of fakery, and people need to cut the crap, literally. So that's all I've got, guys. I am still at the Aristocracy of HR, writing about work, life, technology, etc. So there are definitely new articles up for 2017. Check them out. And there will be new content and stuff up there soon. And you can also find me on Periscope every Thursday at 11 p.m. for Ask Serena Live. Actually just got off that not too long ago talking about the perfect body syndrome. So all the replays are there, and you can certainly check that out as well. But I hope this is helpful, and I'll be talking to you guys again very soon. All right, thanks for watching.